Well, Winston Churchill called them the few, the pilots of the RAF who defended the skies of the UK in the Battle of Britain. But there were so few of the few, a whole batch of pilots had to be trained to ferry new planes from the factory to the front line, and many were women. Today's Mike Dalton found one of those women in Adelaide.
For Ruth Adams, the Second World War would start by extinguishing firebombs at university in Bristol.
Now, if you could get a bag of sand on them before they burst, they were neutral. So we used to do a lot of work up on the roofs with bags of sand in one hand and a dustbin lid in the other, you know, just in case you timed it badly.
It would end with her behind the controls of the latest Allied fighter plane.
The Spitfires, Hurricanes, Hellcats, Wildcats, Corsairs, you know, Barracudas. I can't remember all the names of them.
Did you have a favourite machine?
I think everybody had a favourite machine, which of course was always the Spit, because it was such a light, beautiful thing in the air. And it was just always one finger control. But in the air they were lovely, delightful.
Ruth and her other 167 female flyers from a 1,000-strong force of civilian pilots would become the supply lifeline between factory and airbase, known as the Air Transport Auxiliary, the ATA.
The RAF squadrons did not have enough staff, enough pilots, to waste time going back to the factory to get a new plane. He wants a new one there.
After just a couple of weeks of basic training, ATA pilots were expected to be able to master whatever aircraft required delivery, aided only with what they called their Bible, the Ferry Pilot's Notes, which gave a 2-page bullet point description on how to fly each machine. That didn't convince some of Ruth's passengers, fighter pilots themselves.
You sat there reading a book? Why on earth are you reading a book? So I said, well, I'm just telling me how to fly it. I've never flown one before.
The risks remained deadly, Ruth breaking her back in 2 places after an instructor crashed the trainer plane she was in.
When I came back to flying, just a couple of months after the accident, I was always moaning and groaning, you see, about the pain on my back. And the doctor said to me, for goodness sake, stop whinging. Take up smoking like everybody else.
Her broken back would only be discovered in 1951, 6 years after war's end. In the UK, the sacrifices of these pilots are remembered at the Maidenhead Heritage Centre. And according to historian Richard Pode, the risks for these pilots remained huge.
They didn't have any radios. They were not allowed to fly above cloud. So you had to navigate visually between the ground and the clouds. And where you get to a hill, the two come close together.
Oh, you're a beauty, aren't you?
Starting to look familiar?
At the South Australian Aviation Museum, Ruth has the chance to once again get up close to a Spitfire. The first time in just on 70 years.
Does it take you back?
Oh, yes, yes. I can remember digging up here and leaping in, but I can't remember what all this stuff is there.
All the ATA veterans are incredibly modest. They say, we weren't doing anything special. They were. We were just doing a job. It wasn't just a job. Flying a huge bomber all on your own in filthy weather with no radio is not just a job.
Was that ever intimidating for you?
No. When you're young, you take things as they come.